The midday sun scorched the dusty checkpoint outside the border village of Al-Madar. Vehicles lined up under the heat haze, engines humming, and flies circling the scent of gasoline. Sergeant Layla Ward wiped sweat from her brow, adjusting her patrol cap as she studied another ID card. Faded, smudged, the face barely visible. Just another long shift, she thought. Nothing unusual, until a small reflection in the rearview mirror caught her eye, a glint of metal, out of place, trembling in the wrong hand. Her heart froze. Then it began. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're re-watching from. I love knowing who is listening. She didn't have time to shout a warning. The world erupted in chaos. A thunderous crack, the sound of shattering glass and screams cutting through the dry air. A pickup truck had accelerated toward the gate, men in the back raising rifles. Layla dove for cover, her training snapping into place faster than thought itself. But this wasn't a battlefield. It was a crowded civilian checkpoint. Innocent lives everywhere. She pressed her back to the sandbag barrier, pulse hammering, her ears ringing from the blast. Her hands trembled just slightly, not from fear, but from the sheer weight of what she had to do next. She could retreat, wait for backup, or she could stand her ground. The decision came like instinct. She rose. From her vest, she drew her sidearm, exhaled slowly, and aimed. One breath, one shot. The first gunman fell before he reached the gate. Another turned, shouting orders in a language she barely understood, spraying bullets wildly. Layla dropped low, rolled to the next barrier, her boots grinding dust into the cracked concrete. Inside her mind, there was only silence. Focus. Years of training condensed into seconds. She was outnumbered, pinned between a burning truck and a group of civilians huddling for cover. Mothers clutching children. Men shielding strangers. Her radio crackled, but she didn't answer. She couldn't. A burst of fire grazed her arm, tearing through fabric. Pain flashed white-hot, but she gritted her teeth and pressed on. She spotted the second attacker moving toward the civilians. Without hesitation, she fired twice, clean, precise, stopping him mid-stride. She thought it was over. She was wrong. Two more emerged from the chaos, one swinging behind the shelter of the gate post, another dragging a hostage toward the trucks. Layla's vision narrowed. Time slowed. Every sound was amplified, the click of her half-empty magazine, the muffled sobs nearby, the crunch of boots in sand. She whispered under her breath, almost a prayer, and moved. Crouching low, she flanked left, using the burning vehicle's shadow as cover. Smoke stung her eyes, but her instincts guided her steps. When the hostage-taker turned his weapon, she charged, slamming into him, wresting the rifle away. They fell hard, sand biting her skin. With sheer will, she struck him down, grabbed his rifle, and spun just in time to face the last attacker. A final standoff. The air between them was thick with dust and tension. His weapon trembled. Hers did not. A single shot echoed through the air, and then silence. For a long moment, no one moved. Only the crackle of fire and the faint cries of frightened children broke the stillness. Layla lowered her weapon, breath ragged, eyes scanning for any sign of life among the fallen. Then, applause. Soft at first, hesitant, then growing. The civilians she'd protected began clapping, crying, reaching for her hands. She didn't feel like a hero. She just felt alive. When the reinforcements arrived minutes later, they found her standing guard, weapon lowered, blood on her sleeve, but fire still in her eyes. "They're safe," she said simply, nodding toward the survivors. That was all that mattered. In the days that followed, news of her bravery spread across bases and borders. "One soldier, 4 enemies down," the headlines read. But those who knew her best said the same thing. Layla didn't fight for recognition. She fought because no one else could, because hesitation wasn't an option when innocence was at stake. There was a quiet strength about her that no medal could represent. A strength born not from fury, but from love. the kind that runs deeper than fear, and though the scars remained, both on her skin and in her mind, Layla carried on, returning to that same checkpoint weeks later. When a young boy she'd saved handed her a folded paper drawing, her standing tall, with sunlight behind her, she smiled for the first time since that day, because in the end, heroism isn't about power, it's about choice, because courage doesn't wait for perfect timing. It simply acts when it's needed most. And in the stillness of that same desert wind, she realized something beautiful, that the place where her courage was tested had become the place where her heart found peace again. Branded outro. If this story moved you, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories of real courage and sacrifice, told only on whispered words. And don't forget to comment where you're listening from. Every story shared here connects us, one heart at a time.